You actually got your hands on the text message that Coach Briles sent out to players before the news of his firing came out.
The news of his firing came out about 10:30. They said 11 o'clock we were going to have an announcement. Baylor was going to make an announcement. Well, before that announcement came out, Art Briles had the chance to text his players. We exclusively have that text that he sent out. It says, "This is Coach Briles to current and former players. Hurtful to report that there's a release coming out at 11 a.m. and it's to declare that I'm no longer the head football coach at Baylor University. Due to this early release, I'm sorry that I can't talk to all y'all in person. It looks like the remainder of the staff will stay intact, which is beneficial to y'all. I sincerely appreciate your love, trust, and loyalty. Stay strong, stay motivated, stay faithful. Love you forever. #family." The fallout has just begun. We've already seen one player who was the class of 2017 was committed to Baylor. He has decommitted. That's actually a local commit. He's from La Vega High School, the number 3 tight end in the country. Kedrick James committed to Baylor back in June of 2015 over schools like Notre Dame, Arkansas, Michigan, almost every school in the Big 12. He told me today he has officially decommitted because Coach Briles has been fired, and I think this is a trend that is just getting started when it comes to players saying they don't want to come here no matter who the coach is if it isn't Coach Briles. As soon as I heard the news, I got in my car, I head over here to Baylor, hung out at the Simpson Center, wish I would have brought snacks, did not think I was going to be there for that long, there for about 4 hours, and the best we got out of there wasn't a very fruitful adventure. We did get Kendall Briles, that's Baylor's offensive coordinator, also Art Briles' son, walking to his car. He declined to comment. We asked him. We also saw Jeff Lebby, that's Art Briles' son-in-law. He didn't say anything either. And then, of course, Phil Bennett, who sources say may be the interim head coach for Baylor. He didn't have a comment either. So hopefully in the near future, we will hear from someone about what the plans are for the future of this football program. Nick, I got to the football offices at about 10 a.m. just hoping to run into some coaches and ask them some questions. I was surprised when I saw Athletic Director Ian McCaw pull into the parking lot. I was even more surprised when instead of parking, McCaw immediately started backing up once he saw I had a camera. He then turned around and drove off to the front of the building. I ended up catching up with him on the other side of the Simpson Center where he was trying to get in through a locked side door. He's on the phone. You can see him there. He did not answer any of my questions, and as soon after I got there, someone came out of a different door and blocked my camera and then would guide McCaw in through the building, into the building through another door. Again, he was not answering any questions. He couldn't even give me a no comment. We can only hope that we hear from him sometime in the near future. Now that Art Briles is no longer the head football coach at Baylor University, the talk of athletes transferring is getting louder. It was reported last night that Baylor wide receiver Katie Cannon had allegedly posted on Snapchat that we would probably never see him in a Baylor uniform again. Now, that was never confirmed. We don't know if he actually posted that, but last night, the soon-to-be Baylor junior dispelled any rumors by tweeting, quote, "Baylor is my home, and that's where I will stay and finish my college career," end quote, which is great news for Bears fans. Running back Terrence Williams also tweeted that he's not going anywhere. Well, speaking of current Baylor football players posting their thoughts on social media about the current situation at Baylor, senior quarterback Seth Russell, who for the past few weeks has been on a mission trip in Brazil with many other Baylor student athletes, took to Instagram to speak out about the topic for the first time. Russell said in part, quote, "We are broken, we are hurting, but at the end of the day, we are his. And with that gift alone, there was no reason not to overcome through these hard times. My prayers for Baylor University are that we never forget that we need God as desperately on our best days as we do on our worst. We will overcome, we will become stronger. We will be who God has allowed us to be," end quote. Since the news of the Art Briles firing broke on Thursday, many Baylor recruits from the 2016 class have said they will not be showing up on Monday to enroll in classes at the university. One of those athletes is Copper's Cove offensive tackle J.P. Urquidez, who announced his plans to not enroll on Twitter this morning. Now, this has been confusing a lot of people. Just because these players don't show up on Monday doesn't mean they can automatically go somewhere else just yet. These athletes have signed a national letter of intent, which is basically a contract, meaning it's up to the university to allow them to transfer schools without the penalty of having to sit out for a year. If Baylor refuses to do that, the athletes can then petition the NCAA to allow them a release. The firing of Art Briles last Thursday, 7 Baylor class of 2016 signees have asked Baylor to release them from their national letters of intent. One of those signees is former La Vega Star defensive back Parrish Cobb.
I sat down with Parrish's father, Collis Cobb, last night to talk about his son's situation. Collis Cobb filled out the paperwork for his son's release last week, and he says he has yet to get an answer on if or when the university will let Parrish go. Collis has talked with parents of other class of 2016 signees who have also asked for releases, and he says they just all want the same thing.
Well, Doug, it was a packed house here in the post-game interview room at McLean Stadium as Jim Grobe was announced as the acting head football coach here at Baylor University. Now, Coach Grobe was the first actively employed member of the administration to speak to the media since the firing of Art Briles last Thursday. He touched on a number of topics, including the offense and the defense and how he expects to keep that exactly the same. He also plans to keep the entire assistant coaching staff intact. He does have the power to hire and fire assistant coaches, but he hopes it doesn't come to that. One of the main topics he talked about was character and integrity. He is a zero tolerance coach, and he said if you are not a good citizen, there's not a place for you on this Baylor football team. Another issue that raised a lot of questions here at this press conference was recruiting and the class of 2016 signees who have asked to be released from their national letters of intent. We asked multiple questions to Jim Grobe about that topic. We'll get one of his answers coming up later in sports, so stick around for that. Reporting from the post-game interview room at McLean Stadium, Jessica Morrey, back to you, Doug and Nikki. Now, the national letter of intent process, Baylor does have 30 days to make a decision. If they decide that they will not release these players, the players can then petition the NCAA and appeal with the NCAA, and that can take up to 6 to 8 weeks. So I know these players are hoping to get an answer from Baylor sooner rather than later. For now, reporting inside the post-game press conference room at McLean Stadium, Jessica Morrey, toss it back to you, Nick.